And welcome, everybody. I'm so glad you all been able to make it today. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedules. And so a couple more may jump on as we get started here, but just want to say welcome. And if you're not out of school, I know it's in the near future for you and appreciate you taking time out of your very busy schedules to come in and let's talk things all GT with us. And so excited about having Dr. Toddy Adams with us today. Um, this is our last meeting for this school year, so just all the recordings and resources can be found in our participant folder. You do get a certificate at the end for the ELA credit, and just always working to hopefully improve and get better with our work. My mouse is not cooperating. There we go. So we can see with our agenda today, welcome inside in. We've got Dr. Adams with us here right at the first, Director of GT Services of Marshall County. And then you can see we have checking in, updates, GT district highlights. That is super simple. There. And just want to go ahead and not take too much of Dr. Adams's time. Just appreciate. I've been in different meetings with Toddy. She's such a joy. You are so much fun to be in a meeting with.
Thank
And
you.
so I'm going to drop in the chat for everybody the link directly to the folder with the screenshots that Toddy shared and that I emailed everyone so that you had access to them. But those should be um, in the folder. I can see them there. Alrighty, and so Dr. Adams, I'm going to just hand it over to you and let you take over because I know they were expressing an interest of just this time-saving tip you have with Infinite Campus and just anything else that you have. And if anybody has any questions for Toddy, just be sure to unmute or type it in the chat for her while we have her here with us. So, Toddy, take it away.
All righty. Well, I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for letting me be here and share ideas with you. This is part of advocacy that we want to always benefit our students. And one way to benefit our students is to support the gifted coordinators and make their jobs and their responsibilities as easy as possible, meaning to expedite the paperwork in order for our coordinators or teachers to be working with admin, with guidance counselors, with teachers, or with students, whatever your job position entails. So the goal is to cut back on any busy work in the office and to actually use technology to work for us, because for a long time, our technology in Infinite Campus, it actually worked against us. So I'm going to back up just a little bit. This was years ago when I was talking with the Kentucky Department of Education, and we were talking about getting GSSPs in Infinite Campus. And during the course of these conversations, there were some stipulations. If we have the GSSPs on Infinite Campus, they have to be auto-populated and the parents have to have access. And when the GSSPs first went on Infinite Campus, that is not what happened. And it was a long, hard struggle. And I'm talking about many years to finally get the GSSPs auto-populated and within the parent portal. The parent portal came first, auto-population came recently. So I want you all to know that if you are not using the auto-populated GSSP, you're probably doing yourself a disservice. It meets all the requirements of the regulations. You basically click all of your evidence into Infinite Campus. You click on your services. Then you go through the process of each click of that saving to the PDF version of the GSSP, and you're done. We do things once instead of twice. And if any of you used the GSSP on Infinite Campus in the past, you know that you had to click everything on the gray screen, and then you had to re-click on the GSSP, or if you had a Word document that your district maybe designed and created, now you had to recreate what you were putting on Infinite Campus on that GSSP. So I just want to say, if you're not using the auto-populated GSSP, it, depending on your student population, this can save you a matter of days or a matter of weeks of documentation. So with that thought in mind, I want to transition over to the GSSP progress reports. And everything that I'm telling you, please understand that this has been vetted by KDE. This is not a Marshall County thing. It just so happens that there are a lot of us that use this method of progress report. And again, we do it to expedite our documentation. So I'm going to start off with the progress report. In our schools, our elementary schools are on 9-week sessions, let's say. When you go to our middle schools, they are on 6-week sessions of their rotations for like enrichment classes. And at our high school, we have our 2 main semesters, we have midterm reports. So our elementary, our middle, and our high school are on different reporting schedules, is what I'm trying to say. So understand that whoever is doing the background, that your SIS person in your district, whoever is setting this up as a district or as a school, they can easily set up a GT quote unquote course, and it can report out as often or as not as you want. So for our GT students, our SIS person set up that at the end of each semester, we can report out our gifted grades. And our grades are below expectations, meets expectations, or exceeds expectations. And this is, like I said, this is done district-wide, and it is at elementary, middle, and high at the end of each semester. Probably one of the most beautiful and best things about this is anything that you use as a general education classroom teacher is available for the GT teacher to use. So when it comes to filling in the fill grade button, and all of a sudden it populates all of the grades that you want, and then you can auto populate comments. That's probably one of the biggest time savers with putting the GSSP progress report in a regular report card or a regular, progress report. So what we do, and I'm gonna use the example of Marshall County High School, where I have 204 gifted students that I have to report on twice a year. If I have, let's say, 5 students that are exceeding expectations, most of them are meeting expectations. And I think this year I had 7 kids that were below expectations. I can auto-populate by using that fill button with meets expectations, put in my comments for meeting expectations, and now I have 11 kids that I have to go back, and I just change the meets expectations to below on my 7 kids, and on my 4 kids, I change the meet expectations to exceeds expectations. And when it comes to reporting out on the progress report, I completed this after I had collected all the documentation, and collecting it on the kids, who is meeting and who is not, is the bulk of the work. Reporting out is the easy part. I had it done in maybe 30 minutes or less. And that's 204 kids. But again, it's the documenting part, who's actually meeting, exceeds, or below. That's the time consuming part. So if I can do that in maybe 30 minutes for 204 kids, 20 to 30 minutes, You have to imagine that with the middle schools, it was even less time. And for the elementary schools, it was even less time. Our comments, uh, whether it's meets below or exceeds the expectation, correlates with the child. We also have not applicable. And the reason that we have a not applicable gifted grade is, let's say you have, it's because we're on block schedule at the high school. So you can have a student who's identified in math, let's say, they are in Honors Algebra 2, which is a high level course for their grade level, but they took Honors Algebra 2 in the spring and not the fall. In the fall, they're going to get their not applicable grade. It can't stay blank. And the explanation is your child is not scheduled um, for a above level course in their area of giftedness. They will be taking it in the spring. It's just very self-explanatory, because the GSSP progress reports is how we report out to parents, and they want to understand why their children are getting the gifted grades that they get. I would say the absolutely most beneficial thing about having the GSSP progress report on the regular report card, besides time, and say that just that tremendous saving of time, is we feel it makes gifted services very legitimate. We're not in the background. It's there on every report card, whether the child has taken a high ability class or not. Gifted is right there twice a year. The parents know that gifted didn't go away in middle school. Gifted did not go away in high school. We continue to report out on the kids. And where gifted, I think sometimes is out of sight, out of mind, which contributes to us being a traditionally underserved population. This is just always in the forefront. Gifted services is right there. And the parents and the teachers and the admin know gifted services is working in their child's educational process. So that is the rationale behind why we do what we do. Do you all have any questions?
I have one
Okay.
uh, for you, Toddy. I love this. I think this is a phenomenal. Kudos to you all for being able to get this worked out. Is there a way, because as a teacher, if I'm doing this in Infinite Campus, then is it possible for me to run a report of all my students not meeting expectation to where I could maybe have that listing, or are you, is that a possibility to your knowledge?
You know, my SIS person has set up filters for me to run reports on anything that I ask, anything that I've ever said. How do I get this documentation on my gifted students? She clicks a couple of buttons and she puts it under my you know, under my gifted drop down. I've never
Uh,
I've never ran a report like that, because when I'll just tell you why I personally haven't. I have spreadsheets for continuous progress of the kids. We implement GTRTI, and we looking at the elementary GTRTI notes or looking at the feedback from the high school, I at a glance can see who is not applicable, who is
okay,
below expectations. So I don't want to I don't run a report because I have it on a spreadsheet. But
gotcha.
that is possible, absolutely.
Especially if you're utilizing it in this fashion, that would be a possibility. I, I love that it's included right along with all the other grades of the student, because that's always, it's like you said, it gives like um, credence to our GT departments that, you know, here we are right with the rest of the scores. I love that. Does anybody have any questions for Toddy while we have her here, or anything in relation to this? I did pull up the reports while you were talking, Toddy, like this first one. Um, Screenshot is just kind of, I guess, how the grading looks. And so that's the exceeds expectations meets for when they're actually setting up the scores. And then this is for their infinite campus person as they're developing it, right?
That's right. That's the back door of Infinite Campus that any of the SIS people would do. And if
Mm-hmm.
they're, I would assume that the SIS people know how to do all of that, but they may not be familiar with the BEMEEE, or NA. And so our SIS person sent those screenshots to me. So she said it's just so easy to do. It's just a matter of clicking.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you get it once at the end of each semester, since you all don't report out midterms or whatever. But of course, the regulations say that we report out twice a year, but this makes it possible, especially for small school districts, if they wanted to do it more than twice a year, your SIS person can set it up any way you want.
And in some districts, it might be the counselor that would be able to help them with that, right? Too, because like you said, smaller districts, you would think that the Infinite Campus person would be able to, but I know in some of your smaller districts, the counselors are kind of doing that work as well. So that might be if another way to work with it. Does anybody have any questions about this? I love the screenshots. That makes it so much easier to see exactly what you need to do with it.
And of course, you can make those comments as generic or as individualized as you want to. Usually, if kids are exceeding or if they're below, we really address what is going on with that child, that they are not meeting the expectations of gifted services. And it works very, very well.
Well, I just love it because I know I was GT coordinator, and I know with our GT teacher, that was a huge, huge task every semester. And what this is just phenomenal. I'm thrilled.
Well, good. And there are some bigger districts that, as they are doing GT identification in the fall, and as they're getting all of their documentation done, some of them don't start meeting with students um, until sometimes November, beginning of December. And we are ready to meet with students after Labor Day. That's just our documentation gets done very quick with the automated GSSPs. We do the bulk of our identification in the spring for the upcoming year. Um, in the fall, we just look over and see if anybody was really close, make sure there's one or two students we need to identify in the fall, we do. But after Labor Day in September, we are out of the office and we are working with our students. So that's when you use technology to your benefit and you use the tools that are being provided for you. We have a lot of people who say, well, we just have never done it that way. And it becomes more of a tradition thing. Um, but we really encourage people to use the technology that's available so that you can be with your kids. And if you don't work with students, then at least you're advocating in another way. And you're not in the office doing this documentation.
Awesome. That is fabulous.
Well, good. I hope it helped anybody who wants to try this and implement this.
Mm-hmm. Uh, I would definitely, I do have your email on the slide for if anybody has questions following this meeting. Um, well, that's not what I wanted. Where my, uh, let's see. Huh, where did it go, y'all? Oh, there it is. I do have your email there, Toddy. How do you say your first name?
My real name,
Yeah, your real name,
Tatiana.
Tatiana.
Yes.
Because I've always just heard Toddy.
I've been Toddy since kindergarten. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. And so this is your email address. So if anybody had any questions, they could reach out to you and ask um, to be able to get any clarification that if they're trying this. Did you did you all start this in the fall or the mid-year or spring semester when you started it? Did you
We started
come up?
it in the fall that for we've been doing this for quite a few years now. So when
Mhm.
we first implemented it, it was just right there that first fall progress report, and it was just so easy. We were just so thrilled.
Oh, I imagine so. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, if no one has any questions for Dr. Adams here, we'll not keep her because I know you're a busy bee and you've got things you need to do in District 2. But we so thank you for taking the time to join us today,
You are
and
so welcome. Thank
and
you
I'm
for
sure you'll be hearing from me again in the future. But appreciate your time.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye. What a wonderful, wonderful resource you all. So if you are not doing that. No, some of you may have been doing this for years. We were not at the time. We had just moved to putting the GSSPs online whenever I was leaving district. And so, what a wonderful feature of just putting that progress report to where you can just go in there and enter that information. Fabulous. I was so excited when Tammy mentioned that. Thank you, Tammy, for bringing that up at our last meeting and having us bring her here today. Um, the next person that I have for us, and I saw him on here, is Chad. Where are you, Chad?
Hey, good morning.
There you are.
I'm right
Hey,
here.
hey, there he is. Um, I'm going to hand it over. If you do not know Chad Perry, he is one of our awesome hauler guys. Everybody needs the haulers, all I got to say. Everybody needs a hauler in their district where you have people that you can go to and just, if you have a problem with your tech or need help with something, that they're able to help. Um, so just so that you all are aware, we're just going to let him share with you some of the information in case you all are having some summer camps. And then also getting back out, we're going to be talking about the uh, lending library survey as well. So take it away, Chad.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I know it's Monday, so I won't try to take up too much of your time, but I got a couple things I'd love to go over with you this morning. To start with, yeah, my name is Chad Perry, and I am a hauler here at KVEC. One of my many roles is STEM. Um, I've got several different roles here, but that is the one that we're going to focus on today. Mary has on the screen the hauler menu. I want you guys to kind of look at this and see if there's anything on here that you would be interested in your school district, maybe for a summer camp, or even when school starts back. We have several different services that we offer, from PD days to in-person workshops. We can handle 3D printing trainings. We also do the drone FAA 107 prep class. We don't cover the test, but we cover everything that's on the test. You would still have to like go and get your test through the FAA. Software, we handle a lot of the tech. If you've got tech issues, that's something that we also do. Video production, you guys may be familiar with Firecast that we used to do. I think we still do them occasionally. We've got a great video team here. Um, there's a lot of different workshops that we offer. We've got a mocap lab here, which is motion capture. So maybe if you're doing something with um, like video game design, and you have students that make their characters and they want to animate them, that's something that we can do here in house. We offer that as a camp. That has to be done here. Unfortunately, our mocap system isn't mobile, so that's something that would have to be done here. But pretty much everything else that we offer is something that we can take out to schools. And we can build these on different variations, different combinations, whatever you're interested in. And all of the camps and services that we offer can also be tailored for grade school, middle school, and high school, which is some of the things that we really pride ourselves on is being able to be flexible in all grade levels. So really, really liking that. art workshops. That's something that we do. I handle the art workshops. So, yeah, as far as that goes, that's what we have to offer. I wanted to talk to you guys about pricing on that and how to schedule. Pricing, we usually runs 250 per person on a camp. Most of the camps that we do usually requires 1 to 2 of us. So, um, occasionally we have to take out all. I think we've got something going on in Barbersville, and that's going to require all of us. But for most camps, like I said, it's usually myself or one other that goes out, and then travel is based on what the state requires. I think 44 cents a mile or whatever on that. So pricing's not that bad. That pretty much covers our daily rate. We're not really making money off of it. It just covers us being out of the office for that day. And the schedule, my email is at the bottom of the flyer. It's chad@theholler.org. You guys can send me you guys can send me an email and let me know if that's something you're interested in. Please forward this to other teachers, as well, that may be looking for something to do for summer or, when school starts back. I know a lot of teachers really like to engage in activities, to get the kids motivated to get back in school. So definitely feel free to let us know. We've got, like I said, we've got a couple things coming up in June and maybe one in the end of July. So if, like I said, if there's something that we can help you guys with, definitely let us know. Feel free to reach out anytime and we'll work with you. And like I said, we can tailor all of this to whatever your school, your district needs. So with that being said, that kind of covers the camps I want to mention. And the second part of this is our lending library. We have had a lending library for almost 10 years. And sadly, not everyone knows that that's a service that we offer. And we do. We offer we have a large library of STEM activities and materials for you to come and lease from the library. A lot of the stuff is still very current and still very useful. I have a PDF for that and a inventory of all the things that we can do as far as the library goes. We really don't have a set time as far as like how long you can take the items. Usually within a week is what we try to do. And if you guys are wanting to take anything from the library, we do require usually 3 to 4 days prior to make sure that everything is current, everything's updated, and all the batteries are charged, everything like that. We do supply pretty much everything you need to run whatever material you get. If they require iPads, we do have iPads that we send out, charging cables, et cetera, et cetera. So we make sure that all of our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted when we send out little library items. We have currently, I think, 23 different STEM manipulatives in our library, and they are, they cover from Lego robotics. We have Mindstorms, the Lego We Do, all the way down to Makey Makeys. So honestly, everything in the library is, once again, it's tailored to all grade levels. We have something for everyone, which is honestly the best way to be, something that we can, send out and make sure everybody's happy with what they get. We are also looking to update our lending library. I know a lot of schools and, they're starting to upgrade, especially with the robotics side. High school is going more toward VEX robotics. Middle school, I think grade school, they're still doing Lego Mindstorms for the competitions and all. And we do have some of those. I think Mary sent out a link to the lending library. Great, awesome.
Yeah, I dropped it in the chat too. For those that didn't get to fill it out already, if you'll be sure to fill it out or share it with someone else in your district that might also use it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, so we're sending out a survey to kind of see what you guys are needing. What are you looking for? Because we're looking to, like I said, update and extend our lending library. But before we do that, we want to have input from the schools. We want to know what you guys would like for us to have. What is something that you may not be able to get that we can handle. So yeah, the lending library survey, it's just a short survey. If you guys could fill that out, it's honestly pretty much like saying what you guys need and, all that. So that's the biggest thing. And like Mary said, if you guys could send that out, if it's not something really that you use, but also send that out to other teachers that, may be looking for the Linden Library or STEM activities that we have, that would be great. And that's pretty much all I've got. I'd love to hear the feedback. I can't wait to hear the feedback on the survey. So
Thank you so much, Chad. I think I've also got a Lending Library listing that you had shared with me. I'm going to drop that in the chat for
perfect.
everybody so that they've got access to that. I've kept that actually in their GT folder. They're in the main um, folder before they click into the different months, so that you have the list that the latest that I have access to. So please be sure to fill in the survey, because if we are able to update it, we want to make sure it's what you all are needing. Please be sure to reach out to Chad and schedule times with them. They do a fabulous job working with the students and really tailoring things to your needs. Does anybody have any questions for Chad? I'm not seeing. Feel free to unmute or or type it in the chat if you have any questions for him. But just want to make sure that you all are aware that that is a service, because sometimes people get that, think that it's still not available, and it is very much available. And sometimes just kind of bringing it back to attention and making sure you are aware of things that are available to you. If there are no questions, Chad, I think you're free to go. Great job. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Well, I'm glad that you guys gave me the time to talk, and I hope that we can get together soon. Thank you. Y'all have a great
Thank
day.
you. You too. Thanks. Please be sure to fill out that survey for us. That way we can be sure if we're able to update any of the materials that may be a little more dated. We really want to make sure we get what you are needing. Next, just a little check-in of what is one positive thing from your year that is just like a highlight that you are just so tickled with. You can type in the chat or feel free to unmute. I'll give you just a few seconds to think about it or to be typing in the chat, but just something that you're really happy about that's happened this year with your GT program. I know last month we talked about like places everybody liked to go. But then just want to think about positives, something that you're really pleased with. So like I said, think for just a few seconds. You can type in the chat or feel free to unmute. I love to hear your voices if that's more convenient for you, but whatever. But one thing that is a highlight in your GT, this collaboration you've had with the Center of STEM Excellence at MSU. That is an awesome program. Thank you. We'll maybe try to get them available one time next year for people to be able to talk with them. That's a great one. Having Ted Weiss meet with our middle and high school, he's phenomenal. That is a great one. Awesome. Able to pull out my elementary GT consistently. That is one, because that's a hard one. That is a hard one. That GT for the primary talent pool in the elementary, that can be a real challenge. I took high school girls to a space prep day and several decided to go to camp there. That's awesome, Tammy. Awesome. And Ted Weiss came to your district as well. That's awesome. Wonderful. He is a great one. I see that Kim and and Elizabeth both used them. And I think Tammy uses him too. Wonderful. But just like for you all to share, it was with MSU. So glad Ted is going everywhere. He has been with us for years. I was thinking that you had been having him for quite a while. Yes. Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you all for sharing. I did not have anybody send any highlights for the district, so we won't have any at that point, but I do want to keep that. But I just like for you all to share all the great things you're all doing in your districts, because I do feel like we can learn a lot from each other and get a lot of great resources and ideas. So I'm going to go ahead and go through some updates. Met with Kathy Anderson on Friday. And she had some updates to share. Um, the, the advisory group met in April, and so you can see that these are their priorities for this school year, was to develop a formal annual budget request for increased funding. And she said that the legislators, it was the same funding as it had been prior. I think she said 10 million is what that we have. Educate teachers and parents on identification and recommendations for students showing gifted and talented characteristics, and support equitable funding for socioeconomic, geographic groups and districts. And so those were the priorities that they discussed, and so continuing their work around those. But like I said, the budget did remain a little higher than what it had been in years past, but still better than what it could be. Gauge update. And Kim, I know you're on the board, so anything else to add? I know the early bird registration is still up there and the date. So go ahead and mark your calendars for the dates in February. Is it the 10th and the 11th, I believe, for February? But if you go ahead and register, you do get a discount for an early bird. And I've got that on the Padlet for us as well. But those are just some things with Gauge. And then also be sure to be checking out the Gauge website, because they have some resources there that are free that you can go to and check out. So be sure that you're not forgetting about the Gauge website. So I'm going to drop a link to that in the chat for you all, so that make sure that you check that out and that you're looking at that for some of the resources available. Gifted education update. Kathy mentioned she's still working on the frequently asked questions document for GT. The training videos are up and available for the end of the year training. And yes, the due date, June 1st, which I know all of you all are aware of, with all the reports that are due at the end of the year, but that is June 1st. And monitoring visits, she said, went very well with the ones that she had been to for this year. So just a kind of a reminder with the GT coordinator one stop, that's when I drop this link to the PowerPoint in the folder, that is a hyperlink. Also have it, let me go ahead and put it in the chat too for you. It should pop up if you click on it. But you just have to make sure that you have access for it, which I'm sure all of you already do. There's also some professional learning opportunities on the One Stop, the twice exceptional and the process for selecting gifted and talented students, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. If you have any questions about those, you just need to contact Kathy Anderson in relation to those. Also, just to remember on the OSIL Spotlight, GT does fall under OSIL, the Office of Special Education and Early Learning. So there is the submission form if you all are interested in submitting the great things going on in your district. She did kind of also say a word of, just be patient, because GT is one part of OSIL. And so they do try to highlight all the different areas under special ed. And so if yours hasn't shown up, don't, uh, uh, it hopefully will be gotten to at some point. So be sure to highlight the great things going on in your district. Also, just a reminder of her consultant office hours to be aware of. Want to make sure that you, which I'm sure you all are familiar, but here is a slide reminding that Tuesday 11 a.m. to noon, Wednesday 2:30 to 3:30, that she is available. For you all to be able to contact her, and she's great to email. She's always been wonderful. When I was GT coordinator in the district, she was always good. If she didn't get back to me within 24 hours, that something was wrong. Usually something was up. She was sick or something emergency was going on. She's really good to get back with you all. But that was the updates. I have some resources I also have added to the Padlet that we'll take a look at that was shared that I want to make sure. But I do want to ask if you would be interested in serving on the state advisory panel and like sitting in those meetings with me and being willing to share out and report on what's in those meetings, shoot me an email and just say, hey, I would love to do that next year with you and sit on that, because I think that's a good thing for some of you all to get to be a part of. So if you are interested in doing that and sitting on that with me with next year, please let me know. Send me an email, and I will definitely recommend for you all to be on there with us, because Kim and I go to those meetings, and so would love to have someone else join us. Does anybody have any questions on that portion with the update? If not, I'm going to go on to the next, the GT district highlights. We didn't have anybody. I do have some professional learning I want to make sure that you all are aware of. And so that's what you're seeing here. We have Dr. John Hattie. Most of us are very familiar with him and his work with visible learning. He has a new book coming out, which is a lot of what this is going to be connected to, and it is for free. How many times have you ever got to see Dr. John Hattie without it being like $300 probably? So just want to make sure that you are aware that that registration is open. It is at the MAC. We do have limited seating. So be sure if you haven't registered to get that in, dropping the registration link in there for you for that. But really looking forward to that, and having that available to our districts at no charge for you all. That's not something that many times we'll get the opportunity to see someone like him. Today we do have an informational session. I put this in here more so you could share with people if maybe you had someone in district that you thought might. This is the third cohort of letters, and this is utilizing the science of reading, and it is free for elementary teachers K through 5, and it has all kinds. I just finished my last meeting. I was in cohort 1. It has a lot of really good instructional strategies, and this is more so for all teachers. Great literacy strategies. So just want to make sure that you're aware of that. And I'm going to put a copy of this for you all in the participant folder right at the end of our meeting. So you will have all these links. Also, all of these links are on our PL calendar as well. This was something I wanted to make sure you all were aware of. I know a lot of you do things with engineering. This is Engineering by Design Summer Institutes. You can see the details there. It does come now. The ones from here on are at a charge, that there's a cost involved with these. But you will notice it does mention that if you are a TSA school in the Pigman region, if you're familiar with Dr. Stanley, Mr. Pigman and his wife, Karen, They provide a lot of scholarships to students across the state, and I would recommend that if you have some GT students, that this would be a niche to apply. He gives great scholarships for kids, and one of the things is that that they're in need. So if you have a kid, the Pigmans do have wonderful scholarship available for them to attend UK there, and they do provide a lot of support for those kids and help them to have success. So just a wonderful, wonderful group. But just want to make sure you're aware of this opportunity. Momentum, a deeper learning collaborative. We have there's going to be different districts represented on this day. On July 9th, it's at the STEAM Academy in Lexington. It is free. Now, this one is free. I had the other one out of order. This one is free. There is no charge to attend here. So you can register. There is a limit, I think, of 300. So if you haven't, it's just talking about different deeper learning initiatives going on across the state. So you have all eight cooperatives represented in the day. So just if you would be interested in the summer to attend that, that would be a great thing to go and see what other districts are doing related to deeper learning. Also, now this one is for a charge. This is PIMSR, Empowering Educators Harnessing AI for Supporting Effective Science Instruction. So I want to make sure that you all were familiar with that. They're going to be here in Hazard on July 18th and in Lexington on June the 14th. And there is a charge with that one where it's PIMSR. Oops. The image is hyperlinked, FYI. That's what just happened there. So click on that side. Math Nation. Now, the reason I'm putting this here and making sure you all are aware of this, it's free. And it's a supplemental math resource. If you have not seen it, what is really nice about it is it actually has 4 different instructors. It has one that's actually Spanish that instructs math in Spanish. But then it has 3 additional instructors, one that would be more for your gifted kid in math. And these are supplemental. This is to go along with your math classes. So if you have some math teachers, or if this is an area you're just interested in learning about, it is free to your districts. The only thing is having to get connected with Renee Parker. And if you're interested, a lot of our districts are somewhere in the process of getting implementation of Math Nation. But they have one of the teacher videos that is more directed to a gifted student that goes through the content pretty quickly. They have another instructor that's a little bit more middle of the road. And then they have a third instructor that would be very much one that would be a really good instructor for some students who are struggling in math or special needs. So just wanted to make sure you were aware of that coming to KVEC. Plus, all of these are on our PL calendar, which are, let me get that link for you and put that in there. So everything I just talked about has a registration link on our PL calendar. The last thing we're going to talk about is our Padlet, because I did want to draw your attention to a couple things. I just dropped that in the chat, and I'm going to click on it right here. Okay, the end of the year training, it's due. If you have not, you might want to start this and add it to your favorites so that you can come back to it and find it. If you can't find it, it's in the GT folder, always in the PowerPoints on the slide. But just want to make sure that you are familiar with it and are aware of the different things that are available. I have added differentiation. KDE has updated their resources for differentiation under secondary and elementary, so I added that on there. Also, sometimes we forget that there's a primary talent pool toolkit, so I added that to the differentiation side. Instructional strategy resource. Jefferson County had shared these GTE book links that they have, and what caused them to share it was the struggle a lot of us have with drama and dance. And they actually have done some ebooks related to that, and there is a rubric connected to it. If you're interested, you can let me know, and I'll get you the rubric. Also, Jefferson County shared this listing of information. Now, these are things they have available in their district. The only reason I'm putting it there is so that you can see a list of resources that they're using in case you would want to read a summary, because that's what I really liked about this. It has a description and a suggested use. So if you click on that, it should pull up the document for you so you can see what the resource is, like the Jacob's Ladder. That was one of the things we were talking about, was that's a really good resource for your primary talent pool. And so it gives like a little, this is something they have, you in your district may already have access to it, or it might be something that you decide to purchase. Just some different options that they have available in district for their kids. So just wanted to make sure you were aware of that. They also mentioned PETS, that primary education thinking skills. That's another resource available. The Kentucky Arts Council, always a great resource. I included a separate one for the Jacob's Ladder, the U-Star Gifted and Talented Prep Program, and then the Arts Toolkit User's Guide with the KET. I'll get it out there. And we'd already talked about Artzonia on a previous meeting. Just want to make sure also those opportunities for students. The Challenger Center shared a lot of these opportunities, and I also found some of the others that are out there, like with John Hopkins, if you have some kids, or MIT, and then of course the SCATs and the VAMPI is always a great thing to keep in mind. I'm gonna move it up. That's what I just did there. Gauge Conference, that early bird, if you go ahead and register by June the 30th, you can get it for a reduced amount. So that's there. I also included the engineering training here. If you hadn't seen the project-based learning project, we had been here last month with us, and he provided you all with access, but this is something that is available with Northern Kentucky, if that would be in your budget to be able to attend. But just wanted to make sure you were aware of that, because that's being shared out. And I need to delete that one because that was April. Oops. There we go. And I believe that pretty much is it. But I just wanted to really make sure and highlight some of those resources that were shared so that you have those. If there's anything that should be added to the Padlet, if there's another column, if there's a different organization, please let me know. I need your help to make it better. Oh, you bought it for the next year? Awesome, Tammy. I'm so glad you got it. Well, you shared it with us. I'm so glad you shared it with us and had him brought him to our attention so we could have him as a guest last month. I'm so glad you did that, because that was a really good resource. But just want to make sure that if there's something that we can do to our Padlet to make it better, to be more useful to you all, please let me know. Just want to make sure it's something that can be beneficial for you all. And then, of course, our GT folder that has everything that we had, all our past meetings and all the recordings. So if you didn't get to attend, maybe us talking about Ben from last month, and you're like, hey, I want to go take a look at that. All that information is in that PowerPoint. And if you need access, we can just reach out to him. He will give you access to try it out. So just make sure that you're aware of it. But I'm going to drop this PowerPoint in the folder, and as soon as the recording's available, we'll put that in here too. Because for those of you that, if you're not doing the GSSP online, we've recorded Toddy. You can have your Infinite Campus guru listen to her and look at the screenshots, and they can help you getting that GSSP in there for you all to, and give you a time saver. Other than that, just our next year meeting dates, still keeping the time. Seems like that's working for us for the most part, 10 to 12. Here's the dates for next year, August the 26th. So we're still following that fourth Monday of the month. I did take out the February date. If you all decide, yeah, let's put it back in there, we can, because Gage is not during that fourth month. I didn't realize that when I took it out, so we might decide to add that back in. And I did move to the 19th, just like what we did today, because once again, the fourth Monday was Memorial Day. And so I just went ahead and changed that date to the 19th, like what we did this year. So there's our dates. I'll do an invite probably later on in August, late in July, to set those up, so you can just accept that to your calendar, and that'll mark your calendar for you. And then that's it. We're done. Unless some of you all have some questions or have anything to add, but I'm hoping you all have a great summer.